A little girl helped a stranger cross the street, and the next day a billionaire showed up at her door. The morning sun peeked over the rooftops of Willowbrook, a small American town where people hurried through life, rarely stopping long enough to notice anyone else. But on this particular morning, this beautifully ordinary yet secretly life-changing morning, 11-year-old Amara Johnson noticed something that no one else did, and that changed everything. Amara was small, thin, and soft-spoken, one of those kids who blended into the background. She lived with her mother in a tiny apartment above a laundromat. Money was tight, but hope was always alive in their home because her mother believed hope was the one thing nobody can take unless you let them. This morning, Amara clutched her backpack and walked towards school at her usual pace. Cars zipped by. People rushed. The city was loud. The streets were busy. But in the middle of that chaos, she saw him. An old man stood frozen at the crosswalk. His hands trembled. His cane shook. He looked terrified as cars passed close to him. Drivers honked angrily, some shaking their heads as if the old man was a nuisance. Everyone walked past him. Everyone ignored him. Except Amara. She stopped. She watched him struggle to lift one foot, then the other. His body swayed dangerously, and for a split second, Amara feared he would collapse in the middle of the road. Then she heard her mother's voice in her head. If you can help someone, even a little, do it. You never know how much they might need it. So she took a breath and stepped forward. Sir, are you okay? She asked gently. The old man looked up at her with watery blue eyes. I'm trying to cross, sweetheart, but my legs don't listen to me like they used to. Amara smiled warmly. It's okay. I can help you. Take my hand. The old man hesitated at first, then slowly placed his shaky hand into hers. Cars continued to rush by, but when they saw the little girl holding the elderly man's hand, some paused instinctively, their expressions softening, step by step, slowly, safely. Amara guided him across the entire intersection. By the time they reached the other side, the old man was breathing heavily, as if he had just climbed a mountain. You're an angel, he whispered, tears forming. Amara giggled softly. No, I'm not. I just wanted to help. He squeezed her hand. Thank you, dear. People these days, they don't stop. But you did. He released her hand and continued down the sidewalk, moving slowly. Amara waved goodbye and rushed to school, unaware that someone had seen everything. A man sitting in a black SUV across the street. A man whose life she had changed without even knowing. A man who wasn't just any man. He was one of the richest billionaires in the country, and he would return the next day to find the little girl who helped his father. Morning arrived again, but this time something was different. Something big, something unusual. A sleek black limousine slowly rolled into the quiet neighborhood where Amara usually walked to school. It was a vehicle that seemed out of place, like a diamond dropped into a bucket of rocks. Parents stared. Shop owners paused. Kids pointed. No one ever saw cars like that around here. Inside was Alexander Wells, a billionaire known for owning half the tech companies in the state. Man constantly on magazine covers, news channels and financial reports. But today he wasn't wearing a suit. Today he looked tense, anxious, worried, because he had spent the entire night searching security, camera footage to find one person, a little girl. The girl who helped his father, Samuel Wells, age 87, who suffered from heart weakness and early dementia. Alexander had hired every security expert he could find to track her down. Not because he wanted to give a reward, but because Samuel had collapsed when he reached home the previous day and was rushed to the hospital. Doctors said, had he fallen at the crosswalk, he would not have survived. Alexander's heart broke imagining his father lying on the ground, ignored by hundreds, until a little girl appeared to save him. The car slowed near the same crosswalk. Alexander stepped out, looking around for her. But she was nowhere. Just then, he noticed a small girl with a backpack walking alone, humming softly, tapping her fingers against the straps. It was her. Excuse me, he called. Amara turned, startled. She saw a tall man in a clean, black coat walking toward her with an expression of overwhelming gratitude. Yes, she said softly. He knelt to her level, his eyes gentle. Were you the one who helped an old man cross the street yesterday? Amara blinked. Yes, sir. I hope he's okay. Alexander's lips trembled. You saved my father's life. Amara froze. I did? You did. His voice cracked. He collapsed shortly after reaching home. The doctors told me he would have died if he fell while crossing. Amara's heart sank. I didn't know. I just wanted to help. Alexander smiled. And that is what makes what you did so beautiful. He reached into his coat and pulled out a small velvet box. I'd like to thank you, truly. Amara stepped back. No, sir, please. I didn't help him for money. Alexander's breath hitched. Sweetheart, this isn't money. He opened the box. Inside was a tiny gold pin shaped like a star. This belonged to my mother, he whispered. She gave it to me when I was your age. And she told me to give it to someone with a heart of gold, someone who sees people when others don't. Amara's eyes widened. I can't take this. It looks expensive. It is priceless, Alexander said gently. Please, my mother would want you to have it. Amara hesitated, then slowly accepted it. And in that moment a beautiful bond began, one that neither of them expected. But the story was far from over. That afternoon, Amara sat on her bed staring at the small star-shaped pin. It sparkled under the sunlight as if filled with magic. She had never owned something so beautiful, so full of meaning. Her mother knocked. Amara, what's that? Amara told her everything. Every word. Every detail. Her mother covered her mouth, tears forming. Baby, what you did was extraordinary. Amara shrugged shyly. I just didn't want him to fall. Her mother hugged her tightly. But at that very moment, a knock echoed from the front door downstairs. Curious and confused, the two hurried to open it. Standing outside the apartment was Alexander Wells. Behind him, a camera crew, microphones, reporters, and several news vans. Amara gasped. Alexander raised both hands toward the reporters. Please, stand back. No questions. Her mother stepped forward protectively. What is happening? Alexander bowed his head. Mrs. Johnson, I am so sorry. I didn't summon them. The hospital leaked the story. They found out about your daughter and followed me. Amara grabbed her mother's hand, suddenly nervous. Alexander continued, voice sincere. I didn't want this. So I came only to ask if you would allow me to honor your daughter at a private event. No cameras, no press, just a simple thank you dinner. Her mother looked at the swarm of reporters, then back at Alexander. You didn't invite them? Absolutely not, he assured. Then, no. We don't want publicity, her mother said firmly. Alexander nodded respectfully. I completely understand. Then allow me to do something else. He stepped aside. Two men carried a folder toward her mother. My father insisted before he lost consciousness that your daughter should never struggle in life again. So he instructed me to set up something special. He handed the folder to her mother. Inside were legal documents, a full scholarship, from middle school to college, paid in full. Her mother gasped so loudly that reporters stepped forward in confusion. This is too much, she whispered. We can't accept... You can, Alexander said softly. Because all of this? She earned. Amara looked at her mother with big, hopeful eyes. Her mother pulled her close and nodded. But none of them knew. This was only the beginning of something even bigger. A week later, after reporters finally left the neighborhood, Alexander invited the Johnson family for a private dinner at his father's mansion. No cameras, no guests. Just gratitude. When Amara entered the mansion, her jaw dropped. It was huge, like something out of a movie. Chandeliers, marble floors, gigantic paintings. But despite the luxury, something felt warm, homely, and filled with history. Samuel Wells, the old man she had helped, was seated in a wheelchair with a blanket on his lap. His eyes lit up when he saw her. There she is, my little guardian angel. Amara ran to him and hugged him carefully. I'm so happy you're okay. He chuckled softly. Much better now. Because of you. They sat at a long dining table filled with simple, warm dishes. Alexander had specifically asked the chef to prepare comfort food, not fancy meals. As they ate, Samuel told stories of his youth. Alexander listened, occasionally wiping away tears quietly. At one point, Samuel held Amara's hand. "Sweetheart, you didn't just help me cross a road. You helped me cross back into life." Amara's mother wiped her eyes. But as the dinner continued, Alexander's phone buzzed. He glanced at it, and his face went pale. "What's wrong?" Samuel asked. Alexander stood. "Dad, it's your medical report." Everyone froze. Samuel swallowed nervously. "Tell me." Alexander's chest rose and fell rapidly. "The doctor says your heart. It's weakening faster than expected." Silence. A heavy, heartbreaking silence. Amara squeezed Samuel's hand, tears forming. "You'll get better, right?" Samuel gave her a sad smile. "I hope so, little one." But Amara didn't want hope. She wanted certainty, and deep down she made a promise to herself. "I'm going to make his last days the happiest he ever had." But she didn't know what fate had planned. From that day forward, Amara visited Samuel every weekend. She read to him, laughed with him, made him drawings that he hung proudly on his bedroom wall. Sometimes she simply held his hand while he rested. And each time she arrived, Samuel would say, "My sunshine is here." Alexander watched all of this from a distance, completely overwhelmed. The girl who had saved his father's life was now giving him happiness that medicine couldn't. One afternoon, while Amara drew a picture of Samuel and Alexander together, the old man closed his eyes. "Sweetheart," he whispered, "promise me something." Amara looked up. "What is it?" "When I leave this world, don't stop being who you are. Don't let anything change your heart." Tears filled her eyes. "You're not leaving. I won't let you." Samuel smiled weakly. "I'll stay, as long as I can." But later that night his heart stopped again. This time it didn't restart. Alexander rushed into the room screaming for doctors. But it was too late. Samuel Wells had passed peacefully in his sleep. And in his hand, he was still holding Amara's drawing. Samuel's funeral was private. Amara and her mother were invited. She cried harder than anyone expected. Alexander didn't speak much. His eyes were swollen. His hands shook. After the service, he walked toward Amara and knelt in front of her. "My father loved you," he whispered. "You made his last days full of joy." Amara sobbed. "I miss him." Alexander hugged her gently. When he pulled back, he revealed a sealed envelope. "He wrote this for you." Amara opened it carefully. Inside was a handwritten letter. "My dear Amara, thank you for giving an old man a reason to smile again. Live your life proudly, lead with kindness, and never forget your heart saved mine. Thayasimban si. Amayakimo Sabun Samuel Wells." Amara burst into tears. Her mother hugged her tightly. But then Alexander cleared his throat, voice trembling. "There's something else." He placed another envelope into her mother's hands. Inside were documents, property documents. Her mother gasped. A house?" Alexander nodded. "My father wanted Amara to live safely, comfortably. No more struggling with rent or broken heaters or leaky ceilings." Amara's mother was speechless. "This is too much." "No," Alexander insisted. "It's the least we can do." But he wasn't finished. He handed her another file. "This is a trust fund. It will unlock when Amara turns 18. Amara stared at him in shock. "You're giving me money?" "No," Alexander said softly. "My father is giving you a future." Her mother sank to her knees, crying uncontrollably. Alexander placed a hand on her shoulder. "Your daughter changed my father's life. Allow us to change yours." The next day, Samuel's story hit national news. Little girl saves billionaire's father. 11-year-old hero changes family forever. A child's kindness sparks a miracle. The world fell in love with Amara. People sent letters, drawings, gifts. Schools invited her to speak. Organizations offered to fund her dreams. But through all the noise, one thing never changed. She stayed humble. When reporters asked why she helped Samuel, she simply said, "Because it was the right thing to do." Alexander, now alone without his father, found himself visiting Amara and her mother often. At first he just checked in, but slowly something changed. He started helping Amara with homework. He joined them for dinners. He fixed things around their new house. He supported Amara's mother emotionally. He treated Amara like family. One evening, while they all sat eating spaghetti together, Amara grinned up at Alexander. "You know, you kind of act like my dad sometimes." Alexander froze. Her mother froze. The room fell silent. Then Amara giggled. "It's a compliment." Alexander chuckled softly. "Well, I'm honored." But inside, her words hit him deeply, and he realized something. He didn't just admire this family. He needed them, and maybe they needed him too. Years passed. Amara grew into a strong, brilliant teenager. The world still remembered her story. The scholarship helped her attend the best schools. She excelled in everything she touched. But more importantly, she kept her heart exactly the same. She still helped strangers, still noticed people others ignored, still gave more than she took. One evening, as she prepared for her high school graduation, Alexander and her mother stood proudly on each side of her. She wore Samuel's star pin on her gown. When her name was called, the entire auditorium erupted into applause. As she walked on stage, she whispered quietly, "Thank you, Samuel. This is for you." After the ceremony, Alexander gave her a small box. Inside was a necklace with a golden star, just like the pin his mother once gave him. "So your future is bright," Alexander said, "and I will always be here to help you shine." Amara smiled with tears in her eyes. "Thank you for everything." Her mother hugged both of them. "We're a family now, aren't we?" Alexander nodded, voice breaking. "Yes, we are." And as the three of them stood together under the setting sun, it felt like Samuel was smiling from above, because a little girl helped an old man cross the street. And in return, a billionaire helped her cross into a future filled with love, hope, and endless possibilities. The end.